I bet most Detroit Tigers fans will know the name Kirk Gibson. What many of you may not know is that the Kirk Gibson Foundation was created back in 1996 to grant scholarships to students in the Waterford, Kettering, and Clarkston high schools. The foundation has become much more than that, and today's guest will tell us all about the foundation. Welcome to Celebrate Michigan, the show produced on the campus of Madonna University. I'm Karen Sanborn, and today's guest is Steve Annear, Managing Director and Board Member for the Kirk Gibson Foundation for Parkinson's. Thank you for joining us today. So Steve, can you tell me a little bit about how the foundation got started?
Well, Kirk was very keen to give back to the Michigan community when he retired from baseball and set the foundation up to help kids get opportunity, which is very important to him. His mum was a school teacher, and education has always been very, very important to the whole family. But when he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, he switched the focus of the foundation to a public entity that was looking for ways to help people live with the disease. So there's a lot of people and a lot of organisations that are chasing a cure, and particularly the Michael J. Fox organisation, which is an extraordinary organisation. They've done an incredibly good job to be the leader in trying to find a cure. But there are few resources sort of focused on helping people live with the disease. So if you think, the average age of diagnosis is about 58, and people can live for 20, 30 years with the disease. It's a long period of time, and it'll take a while to find a cure. So what we're doing at the foundation, which is what Kirk wants, is be able to help people live a really, really strong quality of life while they have the disease. Interesting thing about the disease is that it affects everybody differently. So there's a multitude of impacts and symptoms that people deal with, but the combination of those can be very, very different. So it's very complex from that point of view, and it's the fastest growing neurological disease in America right now. Wow. So, and we have an aging population. So the people impacted by this is only going to get more and more. And of course, when someone has a disease like Parkinson's, which can be so progressively debilitating, it affects the whole family.
Right.
So it's not just about the million people that are dealing with it today, it's about their friends and their families and their carers. Right. So it's a great portion of the population is impacted. How
did you meet Kirk?
Well, I'm a very passionate golfer, and so every Saturday morning I play with a group of mates, and it was about 7:30 in the morning, and we were waiting to tee off at a local golf course, and we saw this guy running up the fairway of the 9th hole, which is a hill, and he had a golf bag on his back, and he's running up this fairway at 7:30 in the morning. So he's already finished 9 holes, and he had this kind of different sort of gait as he was running, and so we thought it was quite unusual. And he finished, and he was walking past us, and one of my friends recognised him. So and the people I play with were half kind of Commonwealth countries and half American. So the Americans all knew who he was, and they were very excited, and the rest of us were just dumbly saying hi. And I had to go home after that and sort of Google the history of Kirk Gibson, because I knew nothing about him, and I realised that he was a sporting legend in Michigan, and I looked at his accomplishments at the Tigers and then the Dodgers. Is quite amazing.
Right. So, can you tell us where the name Team 23 came from? What's it all about?
So Team 23 is the grassroots supporter organisation within the foundation. And of course that was Kirk's number. And so Team 23, you don't have to be qualified for anything to join Team 23. You just want to help us. And we get help in many ways. We get help from people that support us financially, which is very, very important. We get people that support us because they come to our events and volunteer at our events. We have people that support us in the foundation by donating their time and their skills. So the foundation itself has a group of people, amazing group of people, that are a combination of paid staff and volunteers. So we have this sort of a hybrid organisation. So people come to the office in every day. They don't get paid for it, but they have a task that they do, or they're planning an event to organise for us, or all these different ways they can help. So that's Team 23, and it's growing quite rapidly, particularly over the last couple of years.
What are some of the events that you organize?
Yeah, so we do different things every year, but the one constant is a golf day that we have in August of every year. So that's very important to us, and so we have about 52 groups play in that golf day, and it's accompanied by an auction and some other festivities. This year also we had a bowling event where people came along and bowled, and Kurt's a mad keen bowler. He loves to golf, he loves to bowl, he loves to do anything active really, and so that was a lot of fun. And then next year we've got a whole series of events that we're planning as the part of the 40th celebration for the World Series win in 1984.
So how much money has been raised for research this year?
Well, this year we'll raise over $1.5 million, and I think next year more than that. Each year it gets bigger, and most of that money now, consistent with the mission of the foundation, is going to help people with the disease and to live with the disease, and because that's the focus, and the centrepiece of our strategy now to help people in Michigan who have Parkinson's disease is to open a centre. And that centre will be quite a large facility, about 30,000 square feet we're planning. And that centre will be a place where people who have Parkinson's disease can go and do activity-based programs. It'll be a place where their families and carers can go and get support and learn how best to cope with this amazing change in all of their lives, where we can work on the physical and mental side of our lives. But most of all, it's a community. It's a community where there's no judgment and people can go there. There's no fee, so it'll be free of charge to everybody that goes. We're planning in the first year of operation it'll provide over 30,000 visits for people to go to other classes or support groups. Things like learning how to operate safely in the kitchen. When your body's starting to not be as reliable as it used to be, you might have balance issues, you might have tremors, all those kind of things. But how do you safely operate? What are the skills you need and techniques you'll need to operate safely in the kitchen? So all of these things that can be terribly isolating for people. And as Kirk says, he's so honest, and he says things, I drool. Sometimes
That's wonderful.
I walk funny. And it can be quite embarrassing, and so he's very honest about the impact. Yeah,
I hate to cut you off, but unfortunately we have to take a quick break. We'll be right back to talk about Team 23 and the Kirk Gibson Foundation with Stephen Annear when we return. Stay tuned.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Hi, I'm Peter, and there's nothing I love more than sharing vegetables with my friends. Come on in! Help yourself to anything. That's why we give our food the utmost respect it deserves. Did you know there are simple steps we can all take to help save food? You can cook it, store it, even share it. Just don't waste it. Because when it comes to food, better ate than never. To learn more, visit savethefood.com.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Karen Sanborn with Steve Annear, Managing Director of the Kirk Gibson Foundation. So Steve, next year will be the 40th anniversary of the Tigers winning the 1984 World Series. Do you have any plans to celebrate that anniversary?
We do. It's going to be a very big year for us, and the Tigers are such an incredible organisation, and we're working on some very, very exciting plans with the Tigers, which we'll announce as soon as we've got everything finalised. But it's going to be a big year. You know, that home run that Kirk hit in the fifth game, the eighth innings. I mean, it's iconic, and you know, it's so fondly remembered by so many people. He had a great impact on people's lives with that hit. So we are going to celebrate it in a very big way. There'll be a whole program of events throughout the year. Our usual golf day will be we'll be having a whole lot of Team 23 runners in the marathon, as we do every year. So that's very, very exciting, plus these special events to celebrate. Okay,
but there's one really big event. Can you share what the really big event is all about? The big adventure?
Well, yeah, so I, along with my wife, Shauna, we're going to climb Kilimanjaro in Tanzania and to raise money for the foundation. So this will be a sort of an 11-day climb up the mountain, and we're doing that at the end of July. Next year we hope to summit on the 7th of August. And the whole idea is to, you know, bring awareness to the disease, bring awareness to the foundation, and raise money for the foundation. So pretty excited about that.
How much money do you think you could raise with this adventure, and how can people get involved?
Well, we aim to raise $300,000 is our goal. We think we'll achieve that and probably more. And how people can get involved is really just to help on this particular event, is to help us financially by contributing to the event. And it'll be on our website, the kirkgibsonfoundation.org website, and people will be able to log into that and find their way to the fundraising for the event. For any corporations that would like to be involved, we'd love to have sponsorship for the event, because that'll help underwrite the costs, and we're happy to promote the corporations that do help us and sponsor us. So they're the main ones. Through the course of 2024, we're going to have a lot on in the foundation. So if anybody has some time on their hands and they want to help us in the foundation, they can just contact me there, and we'll have a talk, because we're always looking for that kind of help as well.
That's fantastic. But I'm really curious, what kind of training, what do you have to do to prepare to climb Mount Kilimanjaro?
Well, you know, there's plenty of information that tells you what to do, but there's very little information to tell you what to do when you live your life on crutches, which I do. So, like I did when I did the marathon, I'm kind of make the program up by myself. The main thing, I think, is I've got to get myself cardiovascular fit, and so that's really important. The real key on Kilimanjaro is going to be, you know, the second half of the climb when we're in high altitude, and being able to, you know, be physically prepared for the low oxygen environment, but also mentally be able to, that's when it's going to get tough. So being able to mentally cope with that. So Sean and I have sort of mapped out a program. We don't know whether that's right or wrong, but we know that we're going to train really, really hard and be as fit as we possibly can. And we'll get to a couple of mountains in the US too to do some training at high altitude here.
How fun.
Yeah.
And you're doing it together.
We are doing it together, yep.
Win, lose or draw,
exactly
you'll
right,
be together in this. Are there any other stories that you can think of that are fond memories for you in working with Kirk and the foundation?
I think with Kirk, you know, I said to Kirk one day, after that day we met on the golf course, we started playing golf together. And I had a bit of time on my hands, and I asked him if I was quite inspired that he wanted to help others. I was quite inspired also by the fact that he never stops. He goes from one thing to the next, and his days are so full. He's got so much drive. and he has Parkinson's disease. So that has just really been an inspiration to me. Now, I didn't know Kirk the baseball hero, but I know Kirk the hero that helps people with Parkinson's, has made this the centrepiece of his life. There's his family and there's just helping people with Parkinson's. It's quite incredible. So I asked him if I could help, and out of that came, you know, this relationship and me joining the foundation and helping put together a strategy that was consistent with what Kirk and Joanne wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And so I, you know, when I think of Kirk, he's a friend. That's how it all started. Mm-hmm. But more than that, he is a person that is so genuine mm-hmm. in his desire to help others. If he finds out that someone, a friend of a friend has Parkinson's, he'll grab the phone number and he'll call that person and he'll have a chat to them, and sometimes he'll take them to where he works out and exercise, or takes them bowling. He's just so generous with his time, and he's a person that where he's the stage of his life, he's been so successful that he could kick back and take it easy and say, I'm just going to look after myself and try and fight this disease myself. Well, yeah, he's doing all of that, but he's also spending so much time helping others. Every day you go into that foundation office, and with the staff there, they're all inspired. I mean, mm-hmm. they are so thrilled to be part of what he does. Yeah. So, you know, when you asked me about my favourite, you know, kind of story, that's really not a story, it's every day with Kirk, and it's just wonderful.
And he really is, I mean, he really epitomizes the fact that not all heroes wear capes. You know, yeah. He's a friend, and he's a human hero. Yeah. Superhero.
And part of that reality is how authentic he is about the disease. Right. And the reality of he doesn't shy away from it. Yeah. You know, the impact on him, and both mentally and physically. Very, very open and honest about that.
It's time to take another break. But don't move, because we'll be right back to hear more about what's in store for the Kirk Gibson Foundation. Stay tuned.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education, what are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Yo, check out this chef, right? Right? That's so gay. That's really gay. Dude, look at those pants.
Please don't say that.
What?
Don't say that something is gay when you mean that something is dumb or stupid. It's insulting. It's like if I thought this pepper shaker was stupid and I said, man, this pepper shaker is so 16-year-old boy with a cheesy mustache. Just saying. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
Oh, emojis. I thought the conversation just got dumber.
Ugh, internet trolls, just ignore them.
I like you just the way you are.
I believe in you.
She's a hugger. Give her a squeeze.
How about the hand?
Ah, there you go.
Thanks, mate.
You're killing it, Zane!
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes, and you come to mine. This is it. First impression. My way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Karen Sanborn. We're back in the studio with Steve Annear, Managing Director and Board Member of the Kirk Gibson Foundation. Let's get right back into What inspires you to choose the goals that you choose and the projects that you choose, like the marathon, running a marathon?
Well, I've kind of lived my life, chasing big goals. It's really important to me, and I've had a couple of slips and falls in my life. And at one stage, I was very, very down about missing a very big goal I had. And out of that came a resolve to not stop setting big goals, even though I was going to fail at times. So I've lived my life that way. I always wanted to do a marathon, and I'd never really got around to doing it. And I wanted to, when I realised what the pace looked like, I set myself a goal of trying to do it within 9 hours. And then being able to combine that with fundraising for the foundation, it was just a good win. So that's what I did last year, and we raised over $100,000 on that event for the foundation.
That's fantastic.
That was an amazing event. I mean, going over the Ambassador Bridge when the sun's coming up and all those, because everyone in the race passed me, because so I really got to experience everything that happened, and it was just so much fun, and the crowds were so supportive. And my family, in the second half of the race, my family joined me, and then they shut the course down, and we were still out there, and we kept on going, and it was just an incredible day. So I really loved doing it.
So what other services or things does the foundation provide that our viewers might not know is available to people that they love who are dealing with Parkinson's? Yeah,
one of the real challenges in the current environment is that the information that people need when they are diagnosed is not readily available. It's quite fragmented. And what we're aiming to do is one of our key strategies is to provide people really good information and say, you can live a good life with Parkinson's, and here's some of the ways you can do that, and here's some of the things that are important to you. Most importantly for us as a foundation is the value and benefit of activity-based programs and movement. So we really have got a lot of information on our website, and we're rebuilding our website to provide even a better hub or source of information. We'll release the new website in January to really be able to be quite definitive of the information that people need. We've found that because that information is hard to get for some people, that from the point of diagnosis to whatever happens next, there's this gap. And people who are isolated by the disease and don't want to publicly acknowledge it and don't know the right steps to take, we want to be able to support them with information and also get out to the whole community, the neurological community and the Parkinson's community, and say, we are here, we've got this information. It's not our information. What we're doing is pulling together what we know is right and accurate and providing that for people. So that's a real key for what we're doing.
Yeah, they don't have to do their own research.
Exactly right, yeah.
It's all compiled. What are some of the future goals that you've set for the foundation?
Certainly to be this provider of information as much as we possibly can, and to keep building this library. And it's not only documents and reading, it's videos and exercise programs, all this sort of thing. But most importantly for us is to open the Kirk Gibson Centre for Parkinson's. Our goal is to do that in 2025. And we have a whole team within the foundation working on the design and project plan for that centre. We've just started fundraising for it, and our goal is to be able to set the centre up and for the first 10 years of operation have it completely sustainable, and everything inside that centre is free to the people that come to the centre. So this will be a very, very big project for us to achieve. It's very ambitious, but we think it's very, very important. And so for people in the southeast area of Michigan, they're going to be able to access the centre.
How do you determine where to put a centre?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and we've studied this in great depth, and it looks, there's no definitive study that says here's where all the people with Parkinson's live. This is another part of the information gap. Who are the people that have the disease and where are they? We want to get to them all eventually and shake their hand, but we've done some studies and sort of triangulated the information that's out there. That says to us that within this sort of circle around the Southfield, Farmington Hills area, in that area placing a centre there is going to provide the best location for access for people to come. Now that's only southeast, so once we've got that set up and that's all up and running, we've got to look to how do we provide then services, similar services to people outside that kind of hinterland there.
Sure, sure. So what's the best way for viewers to contact the foundation to get information on how they can volunteer, how they can support?
They can call us. And all of our information is on the website, the Kirk Gibson Foundation.org website. And they can call us, they can send us an email, and we'll gladly reach back out and have a chat to them about how they can help us. If people would like to directly donate, you can do that on our website.
Okay.
And it's not just cash. If people want to donate stocks and bonds or other types of non-cash giving, that's all easy to do on our website. So any way that people want to help, we are so happy and thankful for any support we can get.
Sure, sure. Well, I'm sure the people watching will find their way to their computers or their phones and find a way to the website. So I really appreciate you being here with us today. This is so interesting and Kirk is so inspiring.
Yeah, he is. Yes.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Steve, for all the good work you do in the community through the Kirk Gibson Foundation. And thanks to you for tuning in to Celebrate Michigan, where we celebrate all the great things happening in the Mitten State. See you next time.